5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We about to have a blast today.
Hello, all you happy people.
Let's do a junkie roll call.
Sound off like you got a pair.
The great Dadakuji.
What country you from? What ain't no country I ever heard of?
She probably still got an old school TV.
Why do you say this to me?
I'm the only girl, so I wanted to do anything that my brothers were doing.
Oh, yeah, you blend.
She's cute too, huh?
Indeed!
That's fine. Just give us a second.
She with you?
The film's just lazy. Like I said, they like vision.
But you got to have vision.
I'm a big JRPG person.
We've just lost half the audience.
Supposed to be full. Oh, why?
But he'd have to be fast. I'm your man. No, you're not. You're too slow.
It ain't just about being fast.
I did not see one Asian in that movie.
Let's not stand on ceremony here.
It's a business. Who cares about the people's feelings?
Aim for the bushes. I could do this all day.
I got big boy pants on!
Happy Tuesday to you all out there in Junkie Land. We are the Culture Junkies, and we're back with a new episode of Culture Junkies Live. Today, we're going to talk about the PlayStation VR. We're also going to talk about what makes a great, and I mean great, comic book movie. Or not comic book movie, excuse me, horror movies, because we're getting close to Halloween. But let me go ahead and show who's going to be on the show today. We got the newly rebranded, no longer Philip 2.0. We got the Super Nerd Plus. What's going on, sir?
Salutations, everybody. Look at my face. I've been in Jumanji. I've been trapped. I got a beard and shit.
Welcome, Angela Reus, to our stream.
Hey.
We've awarded you balance currency for your first time watching.
We got the
Please say hello to the hosts so they can greet you properly.
He's on a camera this time and a mic and everything. He's looking all professional and spiff. What's going on there, man?
Not too much. Just here, enjoying life, having fun.
Gonna
be talking about PSVR.
Love that Akuma avatar, man. That's awesome. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, Waffles did an outstanding job with those.
That he did. And we also have joining us today, of course, the great Dadakuji. How's it going, friend?
It's been a while, everybody. I'm glad to be here with you guys.
All right. So, hey, let's go ahead and get right to it. We're going to talk about the PlayStation VR. And the PlayStation VR is something that just came out last week. I don't want to say it's been tepid fanfare, but I haven't actually heard a whole bunch about it. But the collector himself, GQ, went and got it. So why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about the PlayStation VR and your impressions of it?
Well, the PSVR, I think the reason it got probably a lackluster response is because of the fact that it's expensive. Let's be real. It's a $400 or $500 product essentially, and it's an add-on. So we already know video game add-ons usually don't get the best reception. Early reviewers said that it was difficult to set up.
Are you streaming earlier than usual? I don't know if you remember speaking to me before, but it's usually 2 a.m. when you start, and I miss it. And
haven't had an issue with it. I mean, now granted, Megashawn came through earlier today. The only difference when he was playing the Batman VR is getting the setup right, because it's harder to set it up for somebody else than it is to set it up for yourself. Because, obviously, once you put the headset on and you can see everything in front of you, the minor adjustments you have to make to get yourself, lined up with the camera and all that other sort of thing. When you're trying to do it for somebody else, it takes longer. But again, Batman VR, outstanding, great experience. Short, but again, it's a $20 glorified tech demo, basically. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see where they go with it in the future. Honestly, the London Heist, that is part of the PlayStation Worlds VR game, that's outstanding. Mike Bison was playing that the other day. The video's up on our Facebook channel and on the fan page. And that game is awesome. I mean, literally, you can look and lean out the window and see, people coming up, on the side of your van. So, I mean, again, they did a great job with it. And if you compare it to somebody in the group said, if you compare it to the Oculus Rift and getting a rig set up that would actually run it, you pay about $3,000. So I think the PlayStation setup is, if you don't have a PS4 already, you're looking at, right around $800 something for a full on, just go out and get everything that you need to get it to go. That's not bad.
$800, but you say it's worth every penny. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it definitely is worth every penny. I mean, to me, it's like, look, if you don't have a PS4 already, that's on you. So what? I mean, again, this is it's one of the best game systems out right now, bar getting a gaming PC. But so it's like you've had 2.5 years to get a PS4 by now, and at the same time, the headset. Again, if that's what you want to get into, it's worth it. I mean, it's the probably at this point, outside of just using one on like a cell phone, it's the cheapest foray into actual real VR gaming. And not only that, they're going to use it for movies and all that sort of thing too. You can watch movies with it. So I mean, it's got more uses than what people let on.
Okay, Dido and Marcus. Dido and Marcus. Why don't you tell us? First, you first, Dido. What were your thoughts about the PlayStation VR and whether it was going to be a hit or not? Are you interested in getting it, and why?
Part of me is, but the other part of me isn't. I mean, I like to be able to play games with full immersion, but I don't necessarily have to have it to be like I was watching Megashawn's thing where you have the VR remote and you move the remote, he moves his hand and blah, 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 blah. I personally don't like that. I like the full immersion type thing for movies or for video games. I like it where it's all the way around when it's just on my face. I don't have to be staring at a TV. It doesn't matter how big your television is because it's huge, with the glasses on. But, I mean, most of the games that
I think the whole VR thing is just another semi-successful fad. The same fad
right
that
now,
the WII took advantage of when it was first released.
I mean, for me,
how
VR
many Wiimotes are still in use today?
Not in your house, but in a place, in a warehouse, kind of like a laser tag warehouse or something like that, where you have the VR on you and you're playing you're in a haunted house, a real haunted house, where you have the friggin', everything immersive about it. Because sitting out on your couch just with a VR, that it's not really as immersive as I believe VR should be. But, will I get one? It's kind of hard to say right now because I don't really have any games that I saw that I really need to get. And even with that Resident Evil 7, because I love Resident Evil 7 doesn't really look like it needs to be played in VR. Mm-hmm. But it might enhance the experience.
Well, I'll say this. Angelaris, who's our friend from overseas, he says, I think the whole VR thing is just another semi-successful fad, the same fad that the Wii took advantage of years ago when it was first released. How many Wiimotes are actually still in use today? And he brings up a very, very valid point. The Super Nerd Plus, I want to hear your thoughts about it. You don't have a PS4, you have an Xbox One, but how much of an attraction is the VR to you?
Oh, I'm going to get a PS4 this Christmas, just so that everybody know, because a couple of games I want to get. But the VR doesn't get my dick hard. I'm sorry. I'm not really a virtual reality person. Now, I'm being kind of a hater a little bit, because if I try it on, I probably will like it. But the whole excitement of it, wasn't no big thing for me. Now, if I try it, I'll come back and say, hey, this shit was pretty awesome. Cool. Mm-hmm. But for right now, it doesn't get my dick hard. It's whatever. It'll be here, and then whatever, some news gonna come out, and they're like, oh shit, what the fuck? I should have got this, and I don't know. It'll be here for a while, and then PlayStation gonna drop something else that somebody else gonna drop more money on, and it's gonna be a big explosion of excitement. That's, like I said, it's gonna be a fad, basically. So.
Right.
But in saying that, what could possibly be the next thing to overtake VR? VR is kind of almost your final frontier.
I don't know. They probably have a thing where you do this shit in real time. I don't know. Like, they probably set up a little course or something. And, Sony having this little traveling circus where you can do like Resident Evil shit for real. Like, I don't know. Who knows?
But that's what I was saying. In your house, VR is just like whatever. You're sitting on your couch still, with a huge screen in front of your eyes where you can look all the way around, which, like I said, is cool, but the next step would actually bring people out of the house again. Like, I'm putting this out in the ether. They're probably already working on stuff like it, but if I had the money and the ability to do so, I would definitely
welcome Black Hulk
do,
80 to
like,
our stream.
You were there when we
We've
were standing in
awarded
line
you
for that
balance
haunted house
currency
many,
for
many
your
years
first
ago, where we
time
were coming up with
watching.
an idea. How can you do
Please
this
say hello to the
for
hosts
real?
so they can
And
greet you
this is
properly.
something that would literally
Super
make
Nerd is
it
right. It really is
an
underwhelming after
immersive
the first few
experience.
dozen
Nothing
times.
like anything
It
that
just
you can do. Like
becomes
haunted
tedious.
houses are
Just
supposed to
another
be immersive,
controller
but
that
most
doesn't
people
work as well as a button.
that go to a haunted house,
LOL.
excuse me, I won't say most people. People like me, I go to a haunted house and I'm bored. I'm literally bored. But if you have something that they cannot replicate in real life, like you're walking down a hallway and that stuff just jumps out of you, but you know, there's a gap in the floor, and there's actually a gap in the floor, and you stick your foot down there and there's a gap. I mean, of course you're going to make it where people don't actually get hurt, but that's something that I don't think you can really do in your home. You can do it in a set up spot that's just what VR is going to evolve into.
Welcome Old Head Tech
You know,
to our
it is
stream.
cool playing a first-person shooter.
We've
or
awarded
whatever in
you
your
balance
house,
currency
but
for your first time watching.
full immersion means
please say hello to the hosts so they
You're
can greet
literally
you properly.
walking around, touching stuff, and full immersion. I think that's where you're gonna get.
Okay.
I mean,
go ahead, guys. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying, not saying it's not fun.
Text-to-speech on stream
but
is
I just never
overpowering
been
the
into virtual reality.
commentary.
Even when it came out back in the day, I just never been that excited about virtual reality. I mean, shit, look what happened to Lawnmower Man. He got fucked up. I don't want to become like that and just be stuck in virtual reality. That doesn't probably make any sense, but it made sense when I thought about it for like 2.5 seconds. But whatever. Let's keep it moving.
Well, we got a couple.
LOL.
We got a couple of comments. One is, well, Angelaris is agreeing with you.
The PlayStation VR is a great first step.
He said,
Flying an X-Wing fighter before the end of the year in Star Wars Battlefront will be better than anything Call of Duty or Gears of War can offer.
Totally.
I agree. I mean, like I said, it's gonna be fun for so many games, and after that, it's like I already get back to playing the regular games. I mean, I saw the video was with Megashawn with the Batman. It could be cool. I mean, I didn't see all the whole video. What he just setting up his template, I guess. But I mean, fighting people, whatever, it's gonna be a workout. I mean, he works out, so he's used to that. But most people who play video games probably don't work out like that. They play hardcore games, so for them doing those, action moves and shit is gonna be like, oh fuck. Let me go back to the controller real quick because this is fucking up shit. So that's just me thinking like that. I'm not sure how everybody, will perceive this as a wonder, I guess.
Right. Well, GQ actually brings up something I'm interested in, and one of the things I got to play when I played PlayStation VR, the demo, a few weeks before it came out, or actually it was like last month. It was a month before it came out. Is that I wanted to fly. I wanted to like pilot stuff, and I played that Eve. I think it's called Valkyrie or something like that, and where you actually get to fly around and shoot at stuff and stuff like look in the cockpit and stuff like that. And he had mentioned that that Battlefront is getting ready to come out with a patch to allow you to use VR and play like a special. This is just a special X-wing mission, right? GQ, is that right?
Yeah, as far as I know, it's an X-wing mission. It's a free download that they're gonna put out there for you.
Now, what about like single player, like shooting, running around like the Forest of Endor or the Death Star or something like that? Nothing like that.
No, that would be a completely different game, redesigned from the ground up in order to implement that. Adding a flying level is easy. Redesigning it to completely be like a VR experience when you're running around like on Hoth or something, fighting Imperial walkers and whatnot. That's a whole different game from the ground up. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if they go that route, which would be awesome. Like I said, I mean, the possibilities are essentially endless because if you play Battlezone, the tank game, that's already kind of the groundwork right there. Because like you said, Eve with the Valkyrie is already the piloting game, flying around. Battlezone is the tank game where you can look around, find your targets and various things. So obviously the next step is to put you out on the ground, boots on the ground, as a stormtrooper or a rebel fighter or something. So I mean. Again, people want to say it's tedious or that it's a fad. Not this time around. Sorry.
Oh, so you think it's really here to stay? It's gonna really stick around this time.
Yeah, because look at it this way. It's like, okay, not only do you have the VR for PS4, you also have the Oculus Rift, which has been out for a little while. You also have Microsoft with the Scorpio. They're going to tie into VR next year. So it's like these companies aren't going to spend all this money on VR just to dump it, 2 years from now. That'd be stupid. That's a Nintendo move.
Interesting.
I
Dido,
agree.
you agree, Super Nerd Plus? What about you, Dido? Do you agree?
Yeah, I think it's going to be around, to stay for the most part. Here's the deal. And when it always comes out for new peripherals or hardware or whatever, you got to have those developers that's going to make the game for it. But you also got to be able to have a game, like, for example, go back to Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 7 is supposed to be able to work with VR without. Now, if you have just games that you have to have, like the Kinect, people thought the Kinect was going to be the next best thing because, you're moving with your hands, you don't need a controller, blah, blah, blah. And the games suck. It's always been about the games. So if they come out with this VR stuff, and if they're going to keep coming out with, games like right now, it's new. And if you say that Batman is like a glorified tech demo, well, if those are the games that we continuously get for this VR thing, it's going to die. But if they come out with some amazing stuff where the whole game is, VR, it's a fun game, it's immersive, and maybe it also works without the VR, then you might have something, because you can't have a game. It's not going to sell well having a great game that only works with the VR. So it's got to be able to work with both. You get better gameplay if you work with the VR, but it has to work with both, or you're going to be selling 10,000 games, and that's not going to do anything. That's if they sold 10,000 of those things. Who knows how many they sold right now, because it is the price of a PlayStation 4. So, I mean, they have a lot of factors to go on. And I don't know if people remember that most peripherals and ones that look like gimmicks don't really last. And in order for it to last, that's what they're going to have to do. Because Kinect, what is Kinect? It's a piece of shit. The games suck.
Right.
What do you use I have to agree with that. Like, I got an Xbox One, and I don't give a fuck about the Kinect, number one. I just want to play the games. That's the reason why I got it, because I had a 360. I had a PlayStation 2 and a PlayStation 1 previously, but I always had Xbox, but now I'm getting the PS4. But to me, it seems like what every gaming system did in the past, they put out some little gimmick that was cool for a hot little minute, and then it just, whatever. I never cared about that shit. Even when Game Boy had that VR Game Boy shit or whatever the fuck it was, or the gun, the light gun for the Super NES, I didn't care about that shit. I just wanted to play the games. I didn't ask for that for Christmas. I was like, give me the system, give me the games I want to play. All the other shit is doesn't mean nothing to me. So if Xbox is gonna bring out a VR, I'm not gonna get it because I don't care. I just want to play the game. It's not going to enhance my experience because I want to kick some ass and chew bubblegum, but I'm all out of bubblegum, So
right.
That's how I feel.
We want to say thank you to Your King for the follow, but my rebuttal to that is the Kinect was poorly designed to begin with.
But it was
their main problem. No, it was not even so much that it was dumb. It was just poorly designed. If you really look at it,
I agree. Yeah.
Like the demo they showed at E3 of what it supposedly can do versus what it actually could do was like miles apart. So that was just a bad idea to begin with. And then on top of that, they tried to act like you needed it as for the full experience of Xbox One when they brought out the Xbox One. And then 6 months later, they brought out a whole new Xbox One with no Kinect on it. So it's like, it was just a bad idea to begin with. Granted, the VR is not necessary. You don't have to have the thing. But at the same time, Sony, who's honestly outside of their gaming division is hurting for money, they need something to catch people's attention. And I think if the VR, if they work with it, get the developers to make games, like Dido said, that have a VR mode that's exclusively different, experience versus what you play in a normal game, then it makes it worthwhile. It'll catch on.
Here's the thing about the Kinect. I feel weird that the Kinects will be in my house. Like, I want to be in mid-masturbation form, and then I say a wrong phrase, and the Kinect comes on. I'm like, oh shit!
Oh, so you worried about being caught and in a decent time, and somebody gonna catch you doing something you really shouldn't be doing? At least not on camera.
Sometimes,
I mean, look.
Sometimes
There's a lot of
Pornhub be
females
on.
out
I mean,
there
I don't
that
know.
do that. They're on Twitch. They're all over the place. They love doing that for follows. We don't need you doing that here. We don't want to see all of that. No.
That's what I'm saying. Like the Connect was bullshit. Like Xbox on, like sound like Xbox come or something like I don't know. It sounds weird. Like I don't know. It just I don't know. It just sounds fucked up in my head. I guess I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy. Who knows? But it was a dumb thing, and I just in the Scorpios coming out. I don't know what to predict about this new system, but I just know the whole 4K thing is going to be cool. Other than that, anything accessories, I don't fuck all that. I don't care.
Well,
just give me the
table
games.
this for now, and let's bring it back in in a few weeks after some more games come out. I'm sure there'll be some more stuff that comes out around the holiday season or even Black Friday. So let's move on to the other topic I kind of wanted to talk about today, which was what makes a great horror flick. I think the horror genre in general has. I don't know if it's just that we've gotten older and we don't get caught by a lot of stuff anymore, but it just doesn't seem to have the drive, the kick in it anymore. So I kind of wanted to ask, based on what we've seen now, I mean, because obviously filmation technology has gotten a lot better. CGI is a lot better. Creatively, I think there's a lot of really sick, twisted minds right out there, especially that guy right there to my right, the super nerd. He's a sick, twisted fella. So I wanted to ask all of you guys, and we just throw it out there and just have a general, consensus. And all of you out there in Junkie Land that's watching the show and talking, what makes a good horror film? What goes into it?
It's funny you said that because I had a conversation with my girlfriend earlier about that because she likes horror films as well. She's more on the whole jump scare. I don't like the jump scare shit because it's predictable. I think if the story tells it well and it builds up to a scare, then that's wonderful. Not too much gore. Gore porn is cool to certain things. But if it's like an overall great story and it builds up to that gore and to that person getting killed off, would you least expect the type of murder? It depends on what kind of movie it is. Like supernatural movies, I'm not a big fan of unless they're done right. Like kind of like Evil Dead. Even the Evil Dead, it was funny on certain parts, but when certain people got possessed, they got fucked up. These new movies now, The Conjuring, the more jump scares, and it's predictable. Like I don't like that. Like maybe like Amityville Horror or even Exorcist back in the day. Actually, Exorcist was kind of funny to me because that shit was "Your mother sucks cocks in hell" is just a funny ass line to me. It's downright funny, but it all depends. Even the remake Evil Dead, I like the remake Evil Dead because you didn't know what was going to happen. At the same time, it was gory, but it satisfied my need for horror. Okay. There's not too many new horror movies. Even the low budget horror movies aren't that good like they used to be. Even I would not used to be, but they was terrible back then. But
yeah, I mean,
they served its
factor. It had a cheese factor to it, and I think that's what led to it. Right.
They served their purpose for what they was, but some of these new people, like I have to say, Cabin in the Woods is probably my all-time favorite new-ish horror movie.
That was really good. That one was really good.
Absolutely.
Black Hulk 80 chimed in. He said, good cinematography and music score. The storyline can be mediocre, and it will still make it good. And our newest follower, Your King 13, says it's the suspense. GQ, what to you makes a good or great horror film? What does it have to have? You're muted, man. Gotta get that mic on.
Oh, sorry. There it is. All right. In order for a horror film to really catch my attention and actually hold my attention for any length of time, you gotta have an element of realism to the sense of this could actually happen. Like things like God, I mean, technically Friday the 13th could happen, but at the same time, nobody's going to be sitting there taking 13, 14 shots and still keep coming. So, I mean, it's like there has to be an element of, somebody could be this twisted and go out and kill this many people, and they might live right next door to you. Like that, to me, makes a more fun horror movie. Like Super Nerd Plus said, the whole aspect of like the gore porn isn't necessarily something that you have to have. I mean, it helps. You know, you got to have something that's going to be cringeworthy. But at the same time, I think it needs to be, and I think this is one of the art forms that's kind of lost, at least in American cinema, is stuff like torture, to the sense of like, you know, somebody like, I think, what was the movie See No Evil with Kane? They did a really good job with that, because they did stuff like, you know, forcing like, you know, reeds under your fingernails and doing like, you know, ripping your eyeballs out slowly. Things that could actually happen that like would just creep you out while you're sitting there watching it. That to me is more of a good horror film, makings of a good horror film, because it's like, it's unnerving. It makes you just sit there and like, you don't want to watch it, but you do want to watch it at the same time. Versus, you know, Freddy Krueger, it's like, okay, well, nobody's going to be attacking me in my dreams when I get home. Yeah, as a kid, that was, you know, that was terrifying, but like, as an
it was
adult,
cool.
as an adult, that means nothing to me. It's like, okay, whatever. But if you give me something that like, I didn't see it, but I do need to go see it, Don't Breathe. That to me sounds like a really good premise for a horror film of like, you know, you're trapped in this guy's house. It's not so much that he's this big supernatural power. It's just he's got an advantage over you in that he's blind and it's his house, and he turns the lights out and his senses are heightened because of the fact that he's blind. So I mean, it's like it is just dirt simple. It's like the simplest concept in the world, but from what I understand, it was a very successful film. So
Rutger Hauer's little brother over there getting busy and killing teenagers.
Exactly.
Blind Fury.
Exactly.
I would have to say, like, I like the most like psychological thrillers. High Tension is probably like they flipped it on you because you don't know who the killer is. I like that. Like, if you ever seen High Tension, I think it's a French horror film. I'm not sure, but it was if you ever seen it, the whole time the girl, it's her doing the killing, but the way they shot it, you see a guy because she has a split personality.
Okay.
And so it was so cool how they did it, because you don't really see her doing it. You just see her scared and trying to get away because she is around different people, and they don't realize that she's doing the killing. So when you get to the end of the movie, you're like, oh shit, it was her the whole time. So I think that it was a horror movie, but it was also a psychological thriller. That pretty much is probably my highest, and it had gore in it too. So when it comes to horror films, that pretty much puts the stake up like of good horror films like that. Like, you don't know who the killer is. You don't know what's going to happen next.
Right.
They don't reveal too much until the end. That was good writing right there, and the cinematography was good too as well, because you don't see her and the killer in the same place. And you can hear the killer, but you don't see him. That's cool to me, in my opinion. So another one, but I mean, if you go back to even like the 80s and 90s, some of those movies, of course, they were cheesy. Of course, Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, they had their purpose, like the first 2 or 3 films, because like you said, it can be realistic because you don't know who the hell's out there. That's why I never went camping after all these years. That shit would scare any person. I don't care who you are, because that fact, you know who's in the woods. You don't know who's out there doing what. So I have to say Friday the 13th done it for me. As far as Freddy, no. Because anybody can control their dreams. Simple as that. Dada Kuji, what you think about that? I see you over there asleep.
Well, I ain't sleep. I was actually just getting some gaming in and listening to you guys while you're talking about your horror movies. And for me, horror movies suck today. I don't know if it's because I'm older and just horror movies don't scare me at all. I do enjoy watching some of the good ones. Like gore porn, I don't like. People classify those as horror movies, and I don't know why, because it's just, you know, people getting mutilated and dying. I don't get it. Like, what's the name of that one? Hostel. Mm-hmm. The movies are fucked up because that's something that could happen in real life.
Right.
Then like you got shit like the Human Centipede. Man, that trash is
disgusting.
Bullshit.
That shit was disgusting.
I never felt ill from watching the movie.
Right.
But like case in point, like, classic. What?
No, it was disgusting. I'm saying it was disgusting.
No, it was terribly disgusting. But like the classics like Freddy, Jason, You know, Halloween, Michael Myers, stuff like that was cool. Even Chucky back in the day was cool, but like nowadays,
Fuck
just
no.
when you're a kid, yeah, it was. I'm not talking about like nostalgically, most definitely, because it was the same thing, but it was so dumb with the My Buddy, you know, type thing where he was going around killing stuff. But it was just, if a kid were to watch that stuff and you had a My Buddy back then, man, come on now. I remember my brother had a My Buddy and he had some other stuff in the house, and it was a Buzz Lightyear toy that just started talking for no reason, sitting in a corner, right? What the fuck are you gonna think? Like you've seen whatever the hell, Child's Play, but just nowadays the horror movies, to me, I laugh at them. Like I went to go see that one that's really, really big. What the hell's the name of that one? Where they were in the house and it was the Wayans freaking did a parody on it as well. I can't remember the name of the movie, but in the house and a woman sitting on the bed rocking back and forth or whatever, and it's showing the time. And I'm in the theater laughing because it's so ridiculous that it's funny, and people, you know, are jumping out of their seats about it. So, like for me, a good horror movie has to keep me engaged. Yeah, Paranormal Activity, most definitely. But like, I sat down and watched the VHS series, and I liked the VHS series. It wasn't scary to me at all, but I liked what they were trying to do. Just like you find a VHS that has these messed up scenarios on them, and it was intriguing. I enjoyed watching it, and I watched VHS 1, 2, and 3. And
they had a third one?
Yeah, they came out. I believe it was a third one. The one that I watched, I think it was the third one, where they had an alternate reality where this guy, he opened up a portal to an alternate universe, and he sees himself, and like they're talking to each other. They know what's going on. They're like, all right, we're gonna explore each other's worlds for 1 hour. So the dude from like our world goes over to the other world, and he sees his wife, and his wife's wearing a robe, and she's in a room with a bunch of dudes, and it looks like they're about to start having an orgy. And he's like, what the fuck is going on? I don't know what the hell's going on. And then it turns out that everybody on that planet, they're not humans. I mean, you could call them demons. I don't know exactly where, because they look like humans, but they got like weird penises. And you saw these things that has mouths in on it. And the woman had like a huge body vagina or whatever. So he gets freaked out and, you know, punches the woman in the face and tries to get out of the place. And then on the other side, the guy who is from that reality has one of those freaking monster penises and scares the wife because she was asleep, right? And he didn't kill her, but he might have accosted her or something like that. So they both run back to each other's like universes, and the wives killed both of them, not knowing that it was the original ones back in their place, because the copy struck the demon woman and the other one accosted him, and they end up getting killed. And I'm like, that's actually, I thought was a cool story. It wasn't scary at all. And that was just one portion of the VHS stuff. Stuff like that, it just has to hold my interest. It doesn't have to try to scare me.
Well, that sounds like Jet Li. That sounds like Jet Li the one. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
But yo, VHS was creepy. It didn't scare me, but it was creepy.
Yeah.
It was like, fuck. I'm like, I can't fuck with this movie because it's that one scene in the first movie, if you remember, that woman that's picked up from the club. I don't care.
Oh yeah, she wasn't talking or nothing.
Yeah, that shit is creepy because if you were a single man back in those times and you met a chick and you're like, oh damn, I'm about to smash, and she weird as fuck with her friends, you're like, yo, what the fuck is happening? So you know, I can kind of relate to that shit because I'm not saying that situation happened, but it was like, if it was like, it's woo.
Well, let me ask this. I mean, to me, my favorite actually was the Japanese style horror films where they were supernatural. Obviously, they can't happen, but it was like all I can go back to is is the Grudge was my favorite. The Grudge was my favorite. But The Grudge was my absolute favorite because of the suspense, but not just because of the suspense, but because of that damn noise she would make.
Oh my god, that shit was hella creepy.
That shit was creepy as hell, man. I mean, and the way that she would just come out of nowhere, like in the American version when Buffy was taking the shower basically, and she reached back there and the hand was coming out of her head and shit like that, or when when one of the victims went to lay in her bed, like thought she escaped and went to hide in the bed, and then next thing you know she's crawling up in her bed and then pulling her under the covers, dog. That joke was creepy as hell. So
yeah, I don't fuck with Japanese horrors.
Yeah, the Japanese horrors are good for that. So I wanted to ask, like, does that? I mean, I know GQ would say that it's got to be something that could actually really happen, but does that discredit the supernatural flicks from making them great in your eyes, GQ, just because they can't possibly really happen? I mean, you did say about how Jason would get plugged with like 7 bullets and keep on coming. Obviously that wouldn't happen. Same thing with Michael Myers, but does that make them not great horror films just because they're disconnected from reality?
It's not so much the disconnect from reality. It's just I don't feel threatened by something that I know I can kill type of thing. And it's like,
right.
Realistically, if you look at like Jason and Michael Myers, it's like you're just sitting there like, okay, first of all, they walk when everybody else runs, which is
slow
hilarious.
As hell.
Right.
They still catch them, man. They still catch them.
But
it's like,
listen, the magician game is on point, though. I'm sorry, they be teleporting.
That's true.
The Nightcrawler game is on point.
Yeah, but go ahead.
No, I understand that, but I mean, to me, like that in and of itself always took like points away from them for me. It's like, at least with Freddy, it's like, look, he's in your dreams, he's messing with you, he's killing you psychologically, basically. It's a mind game that you just happen to die from. So I mean, I can understand and respect that, but at the same time, it's like, well, it can't happen. So with some of the Japanese horror, it's like, yes, it's more creepy. It's more of the, it's weird. It's like, okay, but at the same time, The Ring, The Grudge, and all of those, they were really the beginning of this insane jump scare phenomena that we're living through right now. That's kind of all they were to me. It was a series of jump scares. And that's kind of, that doesn't.
I think The Ring wasn't as jump scary to me as
the Japanese version was.
Like the Japanese one was really not jump scary at all. I don't remember. I own the American one. I haven't watched it in a long time. But like just going to the Ringu, as I'm going to start calling it from now on instead of saying the Japanese version. But Ringu, that one had a lot of subtlety in what was going on because you didn't know what the hell was going on. And when she came out, it's kind of like when Sadako, I think her name was, when she was popping out of the televisions. My whole thing is I wanted to know her story. So like, of course, it didn't scare me, but I was intrigued because I want to know, why is she doing this? What's going on? How are they going to get out of this? That's generally why I like watching horror movies, unless they're extremely cheesy, like Zombie Beavers.
Oh, gosh, no. Fuck that.
I watched it on Netflix, and that movie was exactly everything you remember from the 80s. It was bad friggin' writing, bad acting, titties, and just a dumb premise. Titties. Back in the 80s, that's how it was, though.
I'm not even mad at you.
There's movies back then, that was the premise. It was like bad acting, bad setting, and it had to have naked women in it.
But it was a one horror movie that came on. Excuse me. It was like this girl. I think it wasn't Teeth. It was similar to that. This girl, she had like revenge on this guy. Excuse me, kind of sick a little bit. And she got revenge on this guy, and she like tortured him the whole time in her apartment or his apartment because he liked younger girls or whatever, and some shit like that. So she got revenge on him. And, excuse me, she fucked him up like so bad. Like I was like, damn, I can't watch this movie. This shit's crazy.
Well, Angel Arias in the chat is saying there are a few moments in movies that really stick in my head. For a long time, he said the tripods making that unsettling foghorn noise in War of the Worlds grabbed him on the on a fear level for a few seconds. So, I mean, like I said, for each person it's going to be different. It's just, for me, it's got to be something that could actually happen. I think that really sets it. I think that sets it apart from me.
Excuse me. Holy shit, where'd that come from?
From your gut, I
From the balls of the great Daitakuji.
Yeah, right? Exactly. So all right, fellas. So okay. Now what about does a horror flick need to have okay. We know horror flicks like Daitakuji just said, have gratuitous amounts of sex. Obviously that was a hallmark of some like 80s cheesy horror flicks, the gratuitous sex scene, the naked teenager that would somehow find herself naked or trying to have sex with her boyfriend or something like that, or in any case, is sex appeal needed, and or does a film need to have impossible situations? And what I mean by that is, like, say the conundrums that Jigsaw would put his victims in Saw. Where it was like just saying, okay, there's absolutely no freaking way they can get out of this. Is that a good hallmark of a horror movie, or is that kind of played out and over with?
Now, well, for me, Jigsaw in the Saw series, I know a lot of people got tired of them because it was 8 of them, and they came out year after year after year. And the reason why I kept watching them,
Paranormal Activity,
yeah,
like that.
Though that was a gore porn one, you started to watch it like Freddy Krueger back in Nightmare on Elm Street days. You want to see how was Freddy going to kill these people? What? Because he didn't. The first movie, you get the friggin' the claws, or you get a sheet wrapped around your neck. But they were different kills for almost everything. Like Johnny Depp's kill, a guy in the prison's kill. They were different kills. In every movie, they tried to improve it. How crazy could they get? Right. So that's how Saw was to me. It was, how crazy can these mechanisms be to kill these people, and who the hell is doing it? And that was one of the things that kept me watching the Saw movies, is because if you watch the first Saw, right? And I don't know if I should say anything, because like there's people out there that may not have seen it. It is probably one of the biggest twists. What a twist that didn't come from M. Night Shyamalan. That was like, holy shit. That was awesome. So that kept me watching the Saw movies, because I wanted to see how could they kill these people, and how is this guy continuously doing this? Like, what is going on? And you got that. They had a story. It was all encompassed in the series, and you got a conclusion, and I like that. But just to have gore porn for gore porn, just like freaking Hostel, to me was dumb. And that right there, my friend Miles, could happen.
Whoa.
In real life.
Hostel was the shit. Hostel was the shit. 1 and 2. I thought Hostel shit, because think about it. If rich motherfuckers wanted to have like, fuck it, I'm tired of doing hunting, let's kill humans, they can do that shit. That shit can be real. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's why I thought Hostel 1 and 2 was so realistic, that I thought that shit really could happen. It's an organization of rich people doing it. That shit is real as hell. You can't tell me these big banks or whatever, like, fuck it, I'm tired of hunting deer and bear. I mean, kill humans. You saw Surviving the Game with Ice-T. That shit was real.
Well, again, it's just like the what was it? The Dido, help me out on this. It was what was it that Slim and 7 he was doing? It was it pygmy hunting or something like that? Or he was doing something.
You talking about that guy with the big jaws when he was talking to the dude in Hostel?
No, not Hostel. And Slim and 7 when he was doing
Slam and Spamming.
Yeah.
It was albino jet. It was like Japanese albino.
Yeah, Japanese albino hunting. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, he just hit him over the head and he knocked him out or some crap like that.
He almost decapitated him though.
Yeah, decapitate.
Right, but I don't know. I mean, I agree. Hostel probably is one of the more realistic. It probably actually does happen horror films. Saw. Well, here's what I liked about Saw. Saw had progression. Saw started off, like you said, one of the greatest twists and the best reveal music of movies to date.
Oh yeah,
their recap music in Saw is like so flawless. It's just perfect, and they reuse it for every single movie, and it's just like, I don't care. I love it every single time you hear it. What I liked about it though is, as you notice, the traps got more and more inescapable because of the change in the story.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that the earlier traps, it's like, yeah, you might really jack yourself up, but you can get out of them. So that's what I think was interesting about Saw. It's just, like you said, once they got to that particular point in the story where things switched over, then you notice that it's like, okay, this is just maiming for the sake of maiming. So, there was no lesson to be learned. So I thought that was pretty cool how they did that. I'm going to have to pick up that. Matter of fact, you can get the whole series, I think all 7 movies for like $25 or something on Blu-ray. So I'm going to have to pick that up.
But if you think about it, Jigsaw was like an anti-hero, kind of like Jason Voorhees. Like if you think about the similarities, Jason Voorhees, I think people over the years said he was killing teenagers because they was having sex at an early age before marriage, doing drugs, and right. kind of revenge of what he saw, what they did, the counselors did to his mother. If you read the comic books, you would know that type of thing. Jigsaw, on the other hand, he basically killed people who did a lot of fuck shit in their life, or did drugs, or did some kind of shit that ruined their lives, basically. So he was the anti-hero. He was the Punisher.
He was punishing people that deserved it. Yeah, he was basically
exactly. So it's the story behind that. If you really think about it, if you kind of reach into that, it makes sense that what Jigsaw was doing. Like, I don't know where he got this money from to build these elaborate labyrinths, but it was kind of cool to
especially the second one. That man,
the second one, that was crazy. Like, it was crazy the fact that he built these but he was a tinkerer basically. So
right.
He probably had the know-how, the knowledge to do that. So it made sense. So I kind of agree with GQ. It made sense if somebody wanted to really get rid of somebody because they fucking up in their life, take him out. Simple as that. That's all it is.
Yeah, it is. So hey, it's been a great discussion on the horror movies. One of the things that I actually kind of wanted to talk about. Hey, Cool Troy, welcome to the show. We're glad to see you. One of the things that I wanted to bring up too is what about a soundtrack or a theme? Because they have some iconic themes. The Halloween theme is iconic. Nightmare on Elm Street is iconic. Friday the 13th is iconic. Is that just more because of the legacy those films leave behind, or is it like an essential thing for a horror film to make you remember it? You got like a hooky or a catchy tune that kind of hooks you into the movie. What do you guys think? Real quick before we move on, real quick.
Yes, the music plays a big part in it. If you know the history of Friday the 13th, like I do, the music composer took the different words and made it into the type of shit. It was really saying "mommy kill her," but he broke it up into saying
that it was kill mom.
No, was it? I'm not sure. I could be wrong. Like mommy, I know it was mommy kill her, but he
no, it was kill and ma.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ma.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I was wrong. I was wrong. So, but still, that is ingenious to me to put that and make it such a legendary thing in history.
Oh.
No, but here's the issue with that though, and this is where I think part of that comes from. The 3 that you mentioned, and I'm going to throw Saw in there too. They have classic music that really sticks in your head, and you know it the second you hear it. A lot of films nowadays don't have that. Paranormal Activity doesn't have that. Ring didn't have that. Most of them just don't have it because, again, they don't have the longevity that those series had. So I think that plays a big part of it too.
Okay, all right, fair enough. So hey guys, horror movie season has really officially kicked off. We've got about 2 weeks left until Halloween comes on. I know Sci-Fi was playing. I think they played Blade as a horror. I mean, can we even count Blade as a horror flick though?
No,
I mean, really?
No,
I don't think so. But Sci-Fi is playing it like it's a horror flick, I guess because it's got vampires and it's got blood and shit every day. I don't count that as a horror.
Let me say this.
Yeah.
Let me say this. If you have DirecTV and watch the Chiller Network, I would like the Chiller Network to be unedited. They show some cool horror movies, but the shit is edited. Why am I watching horror movies edited? Why? Like, put that shit on a network like that. It pisses me off.
I get it.
That the Chill Network is edited. That's all I gotta say.
Right. Well,
I be tweeting them motherfuckers.
Let's make it real quick. Let's hit some really quick stuff before we get out of here. We got about 8 minutes until the Flash comes on. So speaking of the Flash, what's the over/under that now that Jesse Quick is coming in today's episode, that she ends up being a better speedster than Barry Allen right out the gate, or more interesting than Barry Allen right out the gate, just because she won't be.
Haven't they all been like that?
Yeah, over like 50 times over.
50 times over. Okay. Right.
I hate to say it, man. Barry honestly is. There's nothing wrong with the way Grant Gustin plays him, because again, that's how they wrote the character. That's how they have him playing him. But it's like, for somebody that can think that fast, it's like he's the slowest, dumbest person I've seen in a long time.
For real, man. For real. Okay. Yeah. So, all right. Well, what about, he just finished his turn as Superman and Supergirl yesterday, his two episode stint. He's getting a lot of love, Tyler Hoechlin, as Superman. What do you guys think about his portrayal as Superman? Is he better than Henry Cavill? Is his portrayal of Superman one of the best that you've seen in a while? Or is this much ado about nothing?
Well, I haven't watched it because Supergirl did not float my boats, totes my goats last season. I don't even know if it was worth my time to watch this season. I want to get started in the show like, So I don't know, man.
I can understand.
Wait a minute. Why did they only give him 2 episodes?
Because the same reason why they don't put Batman and stuff. If you put him too much in there, they take the shine away from the other heroes. So if you put Superman and Supergirl's own show, people will want to see Superman and not see Supergirl. So that's why they only gave him 2 episodes. Honestly, I was impressed with him. I thought he did a fantastic job.
Well, I heard he walked the line between Christopher Reeve and Henry Cavill pretty well.
He did. Yes, he really did. Because it was like, there was this one scene yesterday when I guess, and this is spoiler alert, I guess one of his problems with Martian Manhunter was that he kept kryptonite around at the DEO, and he said he wouldn't work with them without it, and they ended up losing it, and that's how Metallo got created. And John was like, hey, we lost it. It was no big deal. Superman was like, hey, hold up, bro. He was like, wait a minute. You just gonna casually lose kryptonite and not tell nobody? I got a big problem with that. Like literally, he forcibly stopped him. He was like, boom, you ain't going nowhere. You gonna answer my question. Like, for real. It's just like, until you get rid of that kryptonite, you and me, we don't click. I was like, hey, wow. He wasn't no take no shit Superman or anything like that. He was really good. Bigger Horrors. That's a interesting name. Bigger Horrors, but welcome to the channel. You hope that you like it. Like the show.
Yo,
give us a follow if you do. But go ahead, Super Nerd. What were you gonna say?
I'm gonna say, like, I might watch Flash tonight because it's almost 8 o'clock, and of course I'm gonna watch Agents of Shield because I fuck with it, and Atlanta. If you're not watching Atlanta, you need to like. Atlanta's hella lit. So do something about that because it's social commentary. It's funny. It's great. Now back to you, Cheryl.
Hey, thank you for that follow, sir. Atlanta is a really good show. Real quick before we get out of here, who watched Legends of Tomorrow last week?
Never have watched the episode ever.
Legends of Tomorrow did the same thing Supergirl did. It didn't float my chicken.
It's a lame show. I'm sorry. It's a lame show. Don't mean to sound like an asshole, but I just wish.
The show's lame as all get out.
No, I just wish they took that whole show into something different. Like, I know they use a Suicide Squad on Arrow, whatever, but I think they should have made it into a Suicide Squad show instead of making Legends of Tomorrow where they jumping through time and order and all that nonsense.
I will implore both you and Daido Kuji, give it a shot, give Supergirl a shot, at least 2 episodes, and give Legends of Tomorrow, that first episode, a shot as well, because as far as it was just a bunch of fun. It was a bunch of really crazy superhero action. You saw what's his name, Damien Dark in there pulling the strings back in the past and fighting the legends. You saw the Reverse Flash was in there now too as his cohort. It's gonna be pretty dope, man. So I mean, you. Go ahead and give it a shot.
I'm not saying it's not a bad show. I just wish that they just made it more like they jumping through time. Basically, what I'm saying is that what it is jumping through time. A different.
Yeah.
Skip all that. Let's bring in something what's going on with the current continuity, and make it work. That's just me. I'm not.
That might be just you, but give it a shot. You know, obviously the next episode is going to have the Justice Society of America. You saw them all in there. You saw Vixen. You saw Lieutenant Steel. You saw Dr. Midnight. You saw Obsidian. So give it a shot, man. It looks like it's going to be pretty dope.
I'm not gonna lie. I have not watched one DC. I might catch a little here and there episodes of the DC shows. I might tonight since it's almost 8 o'clock. I will watch The Flash. I will watch The Flash.
In that in between time between Agents of Shield and The Flash, why don't you watch either Legends of Tomorrow or Supergirl? Give it a shot. Any final thoughts?
That come on tonight too?
No, I'm just saying go find it on the CW app and watch it. Any final thoughts, everybody?
Gotcha.
2 minutes. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Quick. Play a lot of video games.
I'm all out of Captain Morgan, and it's time to go. Woo!
Oh, hey, here we go. Before you get your final thought in, we got Morning Stiffwood is on the stream on Twitch. Morning Stiffwood. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Whatever.
GQ, your final thoughts.
Welcome, sir.
And I know you love to have that. So, last word, GQ, before we get out of here.
Like I said, I'm going to watch Flash tonight. I forgot the Shield is a 10 o'clock airtime now, which is kind of weird, but whatever. But yeah, probably, I don't know, maybe on that in-between time, I might either watch SmackDown or play some VR, because I got Until Dawn, right?
Speaking of SmackDown, Until Dawn, return of Goldberg yesterday.
Yo, can I say something about wrestling games?
Real fast, make it like 30 seconds.
Wrestling games are whack because I downloaded the WWE 2K16 and I was bored by that shit. I will stick to Street Fighter or any other fighting game that comes out. I played that shit. It ain't like the old school wrestling games on like the GameCube and shit like that. I was bored as fuck. Them controls suck. Stick to Street Fighter or anything else after that. I'm sorry.
I got one thing to say to you about that, sir.
Wrong, sir.
What?
Wrong.
It was a free download on Xbox Live. I don't give a shit. That shit sucked. I'm sorry. I was bored playing that shit.
You're still
wrong, sir. Wrong.
It's not arcade style. So you'd be all right.
If it ain't arcade like back in the day or GameCube and all those other systems,
anyway,
that
guys,
shit sucked. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's 8 o'clock. We're gonna go ahead and get out of here. We want to thank everybody for hanging out with us and watching the show. Come back next week, Tuesday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for the next episode of Culture Junkies Live for the Super Nerd Plus, for Great Data Kuji, and for GQ. I'm Kenshiro. We'll see you guys next week. Say bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Drinking less of this Captain Morgan. Oh.